Well, Eagle Nation, the Birds started off on the right foot last night. They get a W against the Baltimore Ravens in the preseason, that is, right? Come on, nobody cares about that win last night. But when we look deeper into it at specific players, there were some guys that played very well and may have risen their stock. Meanwhile, there's other guys who may have slid down the depth chart. We will talk about all of that and more. But welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do me a favor, like the video if you enjoy the content. Be sure to subscribe and stay up to date with us all season long. Now, if you're an Eagles fan out there and on a Friday night stayed to the end of that game and watched it all, give yourselves a pat on the back. Give yourselves a nice pat on the back, because I don't know how you stayed through with that. I was almost falling asleep. I couldn't even stay focused. My attention was diverting elsewhere because that game was torture. I mean, look. The preseason, I just can't get up for it. You know what I mean? It's a tease. Get me to week one. But seeing some of these guys out there last night, in all seriousness, was pretty cool. And a couple guys played well. I want to know from you, Eagle Nation. Let me know down below in the comments. Is there any guy who played exceptional in your mind that may have, made a statement last night? Is there a guy that may have changed some minds last night? Give me your thoughts down below. We're going to hop into a few that I thought played well, as well as some reporters' thoughts on it, and then we'll hop into A2Zsports.com and react to their winners and losers articles. But I will say, crazy ending to the game. It did spark my interest. It brought me back in as, Jake Elliott misses the field goal. I think there was like 30 seconds left, 40 seconds left. He had missed a pat earlier in the game, and then he misses a field goal. I'm like, oh, what's going on with Jake Elliott? But, get the kinks out. It's the preseason. And then Patrick Johnson, with 10 seconds left, makes the play of the game, a strip sack. Jake Elliott gets another opportunity, and he nails the game-winning field goal. Harbaugh was pissed off. He loves to win these preseason games. And the Birds finally snag a W against them. So I love it. But Jake Elliott hits the game winner. Crazy turn of events at the end, even though it didn't matter. But in terms of the players that I thought played well, and Andrew DeCecco here says that it was Quinyon Mitchell, Jalix Hunt, Will Shipley, and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as his winners of the game. Would you agree with that? Now, he also says Britton Covey, Nakobe Dean, Ben Van Sumeren, Pat Johnson, and Tristan McCollum played well. I think these are all good names. Going into last night, the couple things I was looking for, right? Because the offense, the defense are very vanilla. They're very basic. They didn't show anything. They didn't reveal anything. Even though that kickoff formation did look very crazy, I was looking for a couple of these second-teamer guys and a couple rookies to step up. My player of the game actually is not on this list, and if we go to Word on the Birds, he says stock up last night goes to Will Shipley, Jeremiah Trotter, Britton Covey, and Keely Ringo. Keely Ringo, ladies and gentlemen, is my winner of the night. Do you agree or disagree with that? He had a couple big pass breakups. One was down the sideline. One was in the end zone. I thought Keely Ringo last night showed me that he can be CB2 to begin the season. Now, again, maybe I'm just speaking way too early out on this, but the coverage skills, the ball hawk skills, the way he was up on his man, and Wiggins on the other side played really well for Baltimore, but Keely Ringo was holding his own. I thought he was the winner of the night, and for a positional group that has a lot of depth and competition right now and is really trying to scope out the one guy, like Vic Fangio mentioned a couple weeks ago, who's going to break out and make it known, right, and make it an easy decision. I thought Keely Ringo actually played really well last night. Britton Covey played well. I think he has secured his spot as the special teamer guy on this unit. I think Britton Covey's going to be the punt returner. Again, he was really good last night, and he was actually catching some passes. He does look like he put on a little bit of muscle, and at the linebacker position, we talk about Nakobe Dean. We've talked about Zach Bond. We saw Zach Bond for like a quarter or two. Feel like he didn't really stand out much, but Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I thought had some really nice tackles, and he, evaded some of the blockers. He played well. Like, he was a guy that stood out on the TV screen last night. I thought Trotter Jr., I thought Nakobe Dean were all over. Linebackers looked pretty solid. Now, again, that gives me hope. I'm still concerned, but the linebacker group looked more formidable last night than I thought they would. The front four, the edge rushers, I am a little bit concerned. Is anybody else concerned when it comes to Bryce Huff or if it comes to Jalix Hunt? Jalix Hunt played really well last night, but is he ready to be a day one guy? What about Bryce Huff? What about Milton Williams? Are these guys ready to come out here and be able to get to the quarterback. You know, you let Hassan Reddick go, and he's still not playing for the Jets. That is a very sticky situation, and, you know, who knows if it's going to get worked out. But in terms of the pass rush last night, I wanted to see a little bit more. I know they're concealing and containing and not really showing a lot of their cards, but I am interested to see, you know, when Vic Fangio talks about Bryce Huff having to improve and develop to be an every down player, and then you have Jalix Hunt, who right now looks like he's vying for a potential spot, you know, to at least get some snaps this year. It just feels like there's more competition than there should be. You let Hassan Reddick go, who was at the top of the sacks, you know, over the last 3 seasons combined, and he's just a very solid player. So hopefully you can make up that difference. But it looks like the Eagles are trying to give a lot of guys different opportunities. And then, you know, as we got later into the game, there were players that I've never even heard of who are coming in, you know, undrafted players and late rounders from other teams and practice squads. And yeah, it was interesting. But the Eagles get a W, and shout out to Big Play Slay. He told Quinyon Mitchell and Keely Ringo that they were leaving a lot of money on the ground by dropping INTs. Says, I told them a lot of money on the ground there. We get paid to pick the ball. We don't get paid for knocking the ball down. So that's some great leadership there by Darius Slay. I thought Quinyon Mitchell looked pretty quick. He looked pretty smooth in terms of covering some of these guys. You know, he was one of those guys that stood out. And Slay on Quinyon says he's been learning. He played fast and physical. Smart guy. One thing I love about him, he's a sponge. He's going to be great. He has a bright future. I told him let his swag swing and ball out. Yeah, Quinyon's like one of those sneaky guys when it comes to swag. Like, you can see it's there. He doesn't always show it. But Quinyon, Keely Ringo, I thought the corners played pretty well. I thought that the linebackers played well, but I'm a little bit concerned when it comes to the pass rush. So we'll have to see what happens. But maybe this team's still evaluating. Maybe they can still go out and get another piece or two. And then on the offensive side, the one thing I'll say, because there's not really much to take away, Will Shipley looked good in his limited action, and Kenny Pickett did not look that good. If it was up to me, I would actually put Tanner McKee as quarterback too. I mean, you know, Pickett, great story and all that, but he just didn't look that good. His throws were just a little bit off target. I didn't really see a lot of the accuracy there. Decision making was a bit slow, and then really just the ball didn't have a lot of zip on it. Tanner McKee came right in, and he's a guy who I thought should have been QB2 last year over Marcus Mariota, and he comes right in, and you could just see the difference, and he leads the team right down on a touchdown drive. I like Tanner McKee, and I think, honestly, he's probably going to end up being QB2 if all things work out well. And then shout out to Kelsey here on AtoZSports.com. She says her Eagles' biggest winners are Quinyon Mitchell, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who we talked about, and then Will Shipley. So all guys who are trying to find, you know, some available snaps this year and trying to make their mark felt. And I think they all played well. Now, the Eagles' biggest losers, according to Kelsey, Tyler Steen. I think Steen only played like a couple drives, and then, you know, it looks like that ankle's still bothering him. It says Becton played one drive before Steen took over. It looks like it's Becton's job to lose, but they got to figure it out with Tyler Steen. Becton, they might need some help at right guard eventually. Kenny Pickett, as we talked about, didn't look too promising, made it clear he's not comfortable throwing downfield. Oh yeah, and then Anais Smith, he was definitely a big loser last night. Not that I'm expecting the world out of him, but in camp, right, coming in, you know, he had that injury, and he just, somebody tweeted out, they said he looks like he's running in quicksand. He just doesn't look like a receiver right now. So could the Eagles potentially need another receiver down the line? Maybe. We'll have to see what they wait and do. Those are all my quick condensed thoughts on game 1 of the preseason last night. What are your takeaways? Give me your thoughts down below.
Discover BetMGM Casino and leap into a world filled with all your favorite casino games. Plus exclusive ones you can't find anywhere else. And progressive jackpots that keep growing. All of it right at your fingertips. BetMGM Casino. Start your adventure today